hero of my cake. Independent leader made a way. I'm the people's voice, hip hip parade. Stuck to my pace, the turtle win the race. There's trophies on trophies, views from the townscape. Change is great, break, then I had to skate. God told me time to go elevate. Chosen child, I'm the champ now, not a featherweight. Man, I'm so blessed, I just meditate. Peace of mind, that's what you get when you out the
Hey everyone, welcome to the Spot Real Talk. I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And it's just us this week, holding it down for Tierra. She'll be back soon though, y'all. We're here to recap BMF episode 307, Get 'em Home. And we should jump right into it. Well, before we jump right into it, I want to do the housekeeping first. So make sure you like and subscribe the video, push us out far and wide, and follow us on our social media channels and all of that. And now we can get into it. So the beginning of the episode, we see Lil Meech and Lil Terry, and they're being coached by Bryant. And it was like a callback to season 1 because they're the baseball. Because remember when we saw season 1 of BMF, you know, and when he was calling him coach and everything, we're like, okay, so now we see the history there and everything. And just seeing them him coaching Meech and everything and baseball, it made me sad a little bit that they're in the situation that they are now with their relationship, because it seemed like he was like a father figure to Meech.
Yeah, he and it just seems how so much has gone full circle with them. And, with Bryant being able to teach baseball, he seemed like he had a good hand about it, and it's just unfortunate that things, happened the way they had. But I also like the transition between Bryant teaching Little Meech baseball, and the transition between Meech taking those strikes from Carter, Jay's brother. He couldn't hit the broth out of a barn with that pitch. So that was real cool. I really did enjoy that. But at the same token, the moment they J-Pusha sent his brother to the car to pick up something, I said he's either gonna get shot or picked up.
Yeah, you knew what time it was. Yeah. You knew what it was. Yep. Oh, and I want to say that Kia, who's played by Sweetie, the rapper, and stuff. So it was nice to see her, and I gotta say, already I feel like her acting is better than Young Miami's. And no shade, but I was like, okay, Sweetie. I was like, Sweetie had a little, she can act a little bit, but yeah. So Jay is played by Bodie. I'm a diehard Wire fan, so he was Bodie in The Wire, and we know that Carter is supposed to be MLB bound, but he got snatched up, and I was worried about Carter because Jay is a hothead. He is a hothead, and I feel like he was the reason why what happened to Carter happened to him, because Meech was trying to get him to keep a cool head and everything, and Jay was worried about his reputation in the street and everything, and he threatened the kidnappers and was like, hey, I'm not gonna pay you. When they called him, he said, I'm not paying you, and you got to X amount of time to get my brother back. And Meech and Kia were in the back. I'm called her Slugger, since that's her nickname, as we found out that she played ball and played, college ball and all that stuff too. So Meech and Slugger in the back seat, and they're trying to get him to chill and go along with the program. Because I was thinking when I watched it, I was like, maybe he plays along and say he gonna get the money and then roll on him.
But that would have been the most effective way to go about it, man. I wanted to say, Jay, lay off the Tabasco sauce, brother, because you coming on way too hot. Your brother is in danger, man, and you're sitting here threatening the kidnappers. That just, and but again, Meech comes through with that cool way of thinking and understanding the situation and trying to get Jay to slow it down and let's think about it. Because remember, Jay wanted to bum rush this dude named Ray and his crew, And just like Meech was saying, you don't even know if Ray had anything to do with the kidnapping. And if they wanted him dead, they would have splattered him right there at the car.
Exactly.
So it just goes to show, you know, just how far along Meech is when it comes to the rest of these gangs, man. Because Meech can put it together like 1, 2, 3, and he knows exactly how to handle it.
Yeah, because he was like, listen, I got some pure weight. I can get it down here and we can find a way to get your brother back. And before it happened with Jay, like he was such a hothead. They cut off his finger and sent it back um um to his home, and the mother was all distraught and was like, this is your fault. You need to bring your brother back. I don't know what you got to do. I don't care what you got to do. But you better get him back here.
Well, she was on it. She was like, you kill them, you do whatever you got to do.
Yes.
I'm like, dang, Ma. I mean, hey.
She reminded me in that moment. Like, you remember when talking about power, when they found out that Ray Ray was the one who killed Raina. And when she was talking to Tommy on the phone, and when Tommy told her, like, we know who killed Raina and we're on our way, goes now on our way, she was like, you better gut them, Tommy. That's what I thought about with Mama here and stuff. She was like, wait a minute, you better, get my boy home and you better kill him.
And I can understand this. I can understand the attitude or the feelings. I can even understand Jay, wanting to take him out as quickly as possible. But the volatile situation is your brother you don't know where he is at the moment, and they already sent the finger. Next thing it'll be his wrist.
It would be he would be dead.
Or dead.
It was on the table. They were getting desperate when they realized that he wasn't going to pay. And we see the kidnappers, they owed other people. So they were getting desperate for the money. And they knew that they knew about Jay's reputation in the street. So Jay, not being a highhead, he didn't listen to Meech in the beginning, but he sent his boys over there, and it could have been a bloodbath. I thought, I was like, what if his boys went over there and they got themselves taken out, and his brother was there? I was like, what if he got caught in the crossfire?
Let me ask, does anybody know how to shoot a gun on BMF? I mean, God dang. I mean, okay, that's all I'm gonna say, because I could go for days on that one, man. Nobody knows how to point and shoot. That's all I got to say.
Well, the kidnappers did, because they took out the dudes that came for them. And they still took.
The one guy comes in with a 45, and he doesn't see the guy on the side who chops him with that machete.
Should have chopped him up, yeah.
Chopped him up. He didn't see that, but the other guy comes through with some, looked like a Uzi or whatever it was, and he's just trying to handle it with one hand turned to the side. Everybody know you don't shoot a gun like that, any kind of gun like that, but he's just missing for days. And even the bro, the kidnapper who had a shotgun, he missed twice. So I'm like, okay, y'all, something wrong.
Well, he got them up out of there, and they took Carter with them, and then the hat was left behind. So then when we got there, it was looking real bleak, because Jay's boys were dead. And stuff, and he and he had put bounties on their head and all that stuff, and Meech had to pull Slugger and Jay's other boy aside and say, like, hey, look, don't tell him what we gonna do. I may have a way to get him back.
What did he do? He looked at the food they were eating and figured, I know where they're gonna be. And I mean, that's just some cold hard thinking, man. I mean, I'm Meech.
Yeah, and he was smart to pull them aside and say, look, don't say nothing to him, because he knew Jay was being a hothead. He would have got the brother killed. He said, I think I got a way to get his brother back. Y'all be quiet, and this is what we gonna do.
Yeah.
But what was funny about Meech, when he called home to speak to T and said, I need you to send, the weight so he can help get Carter home. That friction between T and Meech, because he was like, there you go, Captain Saber, bro. Like, there you go, going to another city, trying to insert yourself in another beef. And Meech was like, listen, now I would do the same. I would do the same for you. And you can just see like the way Meech is and how he's embraced everybody. Like when he went to Atlanta, he made Atlanta family. And he went to St. Louis, he made them family too. Like by the time they ended up getting Carter back, because they caught up with dude, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
and he made him an offer that he couldn't refuse. Like, listen, like Meech had told Jake, take the bounties off his head, and he told dude, like, listen, I got this pure weight, get up out of here, bring him back, then we may be able to work something out. Because
Mm-hmm.
dude was saying, that they owed some other people money, and he was like, you should have thought of that before y'all made this play.
Right.
But he was a businessman. He negotiated, gave dude the weight, gave him a chance to get up out of Dodge, and he brought Carter back. The finger's gone, but he had his life still. And as Slugger said, there were other
Yeah, there was another
players
ball player
that
was missing
went
three.
on.
They just,
Yeah.
Lard, I don't think that was his pitching hand either. So yeah, he can still play. And Meech just told him, like he said, take that money we made, send them someplace far away so that, they can't get to him. Nobody can get to him anymore.
Yeah, that he's not in the mix because he didn't, you don't need to be around that too, because you think about like once you in the mix, the first thing they're gonna do, they're gonna look at him like he's a meal ticket and everything, and take him out, and he'll always be a target for a
Always.
kidnapping and things like that. So Meech told him, right, and you see what Mama said. Mama was like, she was
Mama.
very, yeah, she was really grateful. Like he another son to Mama now because he brought.
And look what Meech did again, showing the kind of charisma and character that only a leader could have. When she said, "You're the one that brought my boy home," and what did he say? He said, "Me, Kia, and Jay."
Yes, he was like, it's a team. He didn't just take all the credit. He was like, and he told Jay, he was like, Slugger effed him up because she did. She went off with him with that bat because she was like, Carter's like a brother to me too.
Yeah.
So she went in on him. And Sterl, I like Sterl. Sterl always comes to clutch.
Mm-hmm.
On Detroit, so he came too, and he was like an eye for an eye. So they took his finger too.
Yeah.
So it was like, no, you gotta.
I don't know if they took his finger or stuck that knife right down in the hand, but whatever it was, he ain't gonna be the same.
No, he ain't gonna be the same. There was some reparations.
Right.
There was some reparations.
Hey, you like to cut? Yeah, let me show you something. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was some reparations paid for sure.
But I hope I'm not jumping, but I gotta give T some tea today, some kudos, I should say, because his crew wanted to go to war against him, and he began to sound a lot like Meech. Slow your roll. They're saying, which one of you want to die, and have your parents all upset and everything about your death. So I'm like, okay, so he is learning something from Meech. So, and that was an excellent way to handle it. And I think we'll see in the next episode just how it plays out for him. So, but it was an excellent thing that he told his crew. Guns can't do anything but make matters worse. So I said, okay, T, seems like you're learning. He's learning one thing. It's just that other thing he can't seem to learn.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get to that.
I know.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. We definitely going to get to that. But T, yeah, I think that he is growing into his leadership. He's, learning a lot from each. Like you said, because he told them like they had already been to 5 funerals and now Diz is dead. So he said they're gonna take care of the family, the funeral expenses and stuff. But he said he sat them down like when they were talking about going to war, and he was just like, "No, I'm gonna have a sit down with Blaze." He said because now we both want the same thing. We both want the same thing. We both want to be. I went to him. I tried to talk peace to him, and look what happened. So. Blaze came into the restaurant sat down, tried to have a conversation with T, even brought a gift for the baby. But T pretty much he gave the gift back and was like, listen, if you're not gonna be part of the solution, I need to start looking at you like you the problem too.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I mean, that's I don't know where that can go with Blaze though. And I understand what he said. I understand why he said it. But at some point he's going to need Blaze. Blaze, if this thing with buying out Henry's clientele, if that doesn't work, he's going to need Blaze.
well,
Blaze has got to come
but
around.
it's already working because towards the end of the episode, he came in and said, I just flipped the last of Henry's clients. So it's all, and he said, now we're gonna cut Medusa's head off. And he was like, this is for this. So it's already working. Well, he flipped some of the players back onto his side and stuff. And it's something, something's gonna happen with her. We'll see if she makes it into the season or whatever, because the next season, because I think something is gonna happen, because I think Blaze is gonna have to make a decision about whether whether he's going to stop his daughter himself, or if he's going to greenlight it, because he said in the last episode when they went to that event that because she made things so hot, there's a lot of people that don't rock with them anymore. Yeah, so he's very concerned about his brand, and because she's so impulsive and dangerous, she's hurting his brand.
And that's why I say I believe it'll come back down to Blaze, because now that her line is all dried up and everything, she's not the kind of person that's going to sit back and take it. And I don't know how quickly the her distributor will do anything. I just don't know how soon that'll happen, but I can definitely see her trying to up the game and actually going to war with T and his crew, drive-bys or whatever. And it just seems to me at some point, he's going to have to put this mad dog down.
Yeah. Something's going to have to happen, because she's trying to prove herself. She's causing a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that I'm nervous about. So, speaking of, Henry, when I saw Jen go meet with Bryant, so now Jen is trying to, because she's so distraught and mourning over Kobe, she told her dad and stuff, she's ready to go through the fire and all this stuff, and she talked to Bryant. Now she's going undercover with Henry, and I don't think she understands how dangerous Henry is.
Or even how dangerous going undercover is. That's not her role. That's not something she's used to doing. So
and she doesn't have backup. And that's the thing. Doing that solo, at least if you going undercover as an officer, you usually have backup. You have, somebody watching your back. She don't really, other than Bryant right now, she doesn't have it. And I think
she didn't have it the first time. When she first went to see Henry, she had no backup. So there's no contingency plan. There's nothing. So she doesn't know what she's doing in that regard. No. And Bryant was right to say, the next time you go see her, make sure you bring me along. I don't, let's see what happens with that. But maybe those two will be the ones that.
Maybe, but I'm wondering if and this is me just thinking, what if Jen doesn't make it out the season? Like, what if something happens to her because she's trying to, go rogue and avenge what's it called?
I'm not going to give any foreshadowing details, but that discussion with her dad could be looked upon as something that leads to something more treacherous,
Yeah, these are just our thoughts. Look, we could be right, we could be wrong. As I said last week in my little TED talk, that that these are just our thoughts. They're not set in gold. And I saw Miss Annette Beeman said I was wrong about Ronnie from Raising Canaan. I was, and that's exactly why I said. That's why I exactly That's exactly why I said that these are just my thoughts. And sometimes I get it right and sometimes I get it wrong.
Right.
So I'm not there. They can't be spoilers if I'm not 100% right.
And we really, the spot, we don't know. We don't know we don't know any more than you guys do.
Mhm.
It's just that I think it's our job to come up with,
The
it's
content
not.
creators, we all do it. We all do it. Some people do trailer breakdowns,
Mhm.
they do predictions and stuff like that. Like I said, we can save it for the end if we have certain predictions, if that makes people more comfortable, whatever. But yeah, these are just our thoughts, just looking at the storyline and how things are going. But I agree with you about that scene with her dad and how distraught she is, and just her making this decision to try this with Henry. Henry is just too unstable, and that makes me nervous for Jen.
Yeah, and she's pure evil. I mean, and
Yeah,
it's just a certain way she looked at Jen that kind of gave me the creeps. I'm like, you know, does she see something that's causing her some caution? It was just the way she looked at her outside of, that foreplay they had with each other at the very beginning. But she's an interesting.
yeah, I think
Henry's an interesting character, and
yeah, she is. She is. Definitely an interesting character. I think that she was intrigued, but she's the type that will do her due diligence and follow up. Because you see that she pulled up on Diz, and she pulled up on Diz when he was hanging with T and them, and then we find out that after she set him ablaze, she was rocking his Pistons jacket.
yeah,
So
she
that's
picked it up.
really bold. So I was like, she is something.
Mm-hmm.
She is something.
Yep.
So I want to go back to T,
Mm-hmm.
because we talked about how he's showing his leadership and stuff. On one hand,
Mm-hmm.
he's showing his leadership, but on the other hand, he real open. Markeisha got him right where she wants him. She got the
She's a
how
snake.
he
She's a snake.
Yeah, she's playing games. And I thought of you. I was like, I know Ron is incensed watching this because
Almost broke
because
my television set. I mean,
yeah, I said because the games that she was playing. Like first off, the cop that came to the car,
Vince.
when yeah, that gave her his number and everything and stuff. He was fine though, so I was like, I wasn't mad, but he was fine. But I was just like, then she gonna call him
Meet
to
her at the bar,
the bar, yeah, to the
knowing,
bar. No,
knowing.
and she did that on purpose. She did that because T is young, and
Mm-hmm.
she wanted to see them two go at each other and stuff. And she wanted to remind T because she knows that right now T is, he's balancing having the children with LaWanda
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, going to see the baby and everything like that. And as LaWanda told him, like he came through with presents and everything, bought a minivan and everything like that. She was just like, we don't need presents. We need your presence. Like, I need you to help me with this
Mm-hmm.
baby. And that baby is so pretty.
Yeah.
She's a doll baby. But
Yeah.
but she was like, I need your help. And so or stay the night. And he was like, oh, I don't know if I can. And I was just like, oh, I wanted to punch him on the TV when he said that.
Yeah, look, if you start toward that door, a frying pan should have been right behind you. But look, he did stay. So kudos to that. Yeah, you did.
He stayed overnight. He said he couldn't stay overnight.
Well, he must have, because remember when he walked in with Makisha, it was the morning. It seemed like the next day, and she's like, "Oh, so she let you see the kid?" And she's asking all these little questions.
Every 2 hours, and she was like, "Oh, good, that's good," and I'm being the bigger woman. That's what she said.
The bigger.
But she tells him, being a bigger woman, that she took herself over there to LaWanda's house with gifts,
Imagine. I
and
mean,
then commenced to start talking trash. I was like, "Oh my goodness."
I was like waiting for a beat down, but
Yeah, 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 yeah. I was just like, oh, she real bold. And talking about she trying to, well, I'm not going nowhere. I'm like, she would have been going somewhere for sure. She would have been going somewhere for sure.
And she'd have been finished. She would have been finished.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, oh no, not coming to my house talking crazy,
And Wanda,
and
I guarantee you, Wanda could tell T what happened verbatim. He wouldn't do a thing. In fact, he'd get on
I think
Wanda.
she was just done. I think at that point she was done because she was like, "Oh, you think you special?" And she was like, "You come in with this fur coat. I got one too, you
Yeah,
know." And then she was like, "And regardless of what you're doing, she was like, I got his blood.
that
Like,
is wrong.
I still have his children." And Keisha, her face was on the floor because Lawanda said, "I got his blood.
Yep,
You think you got him, but I still got his blood, B."
yep.
And so, after that, she made her get up out of there. She made her get up off the doorstep. And I just was like, ooh, Markeisha was tripping. I mean, for her, I think she thought she was being the better man, better woman, but
No, she
she
didn't.
overstepped. She
She,
overstepped.
she wanted him to. She wanted T to sting. That's why she invited Vince to the bar in the first place. She wanted him to feel like maybe she does at times about Wanda, which is stupid because Wanda was before and should have been after you. But
Mm-hmm.
we know how that works. But here you are. You got Vince and T about to tee off on one another, and had they
Yeah.
done so, it would have been your fault, all
And
your
she
fault.
enjoyed it. You
And
could see on her face,
she enjoyed it.
she got pleasure. She got pleasure out of that.
Most
And
definitely.
because she said,
Yeah. Man,
seeing you that jealous make me pee wet. And
yep.
I was like, I said, see, that's how she controlling that young dude. See, that's how she controlling them. But I tell you about women in kryptonite, I was like, is she a cougar too? And she got him under control. And that's why he and Meech is gonna be on the outs watch. I mean, we already see it coming, but the fact that she has so much control over T,
Yeah.
that's not going to be a good thing.
No.
And just her going to Lawanda's house like that, she overstepped.
Way more.
She overstepped, even if she did want to be the bigger woman or whatever and stuff.
It wasn't
Um,
about that. She wanted to go make some noise. That she did exactly what she had hoped she could do, and she did it. She wanted to make some noise, say her piece, and split.
and
It
she wanted
really
to
wasn't.
flex.
It wasn't even about the gifts because she'll go back and tell T they kicked me out of the house.
Mhm.
I simply wanted to bring a gift and try to squash some of this argument between the two of us.
But T, if he knew any better, he would tell her that that was not her place. That
It's all premise.
she shouldn't have gone over there without him. Like,
Exactly.
let me handle that and stuff. So she was wrong for going over there, and he need to say that to her.
In fact, he said, "Help me with buying the gifts." He didn't say buy the gifts and take them over there. You know,
Exactly.
but, she knew what she was doing.
Yeah. And it was like she was almost like trying to throw it in Lawanda's face. So I didn't fault Lawanda for feeling the way she did.
I think I would have kept the fur coat and sold it though.
Well, you see, Mama was trying to keep the
Yeah,
gifts.
I'm right.
Mama was fine with the van, except she said, "Oh, it's not a town or country." Like she said
There's
something
no
about
town and country. Something.
no town and country. So she was being particular about that. And then she was like, "Not so fast to Lawanda about the fur." And Lawanda was like, "Really,
Right.
really?" So Markeisha is a trip.
Mm,
Markeisha is a trip.
I know.
But I wanna I want to save Lucille Charles because that's gonna be interesting. Because I wanna touch on Nicole for a minute because Nicole had a moment in this episode because Nicole went to school and had the little knife in her backpack and got busted. It made me think about Raising Kanan all over again. I was like, you know,
I know
um,
she's young and impressionable and she's scared, but she's carrying a box cutter. Um, I know you said you wanted to protect yourself, but a box cutter, and I understand she doesn't know any better. And I don't blame her one bit, except to say you do know that you have to, that your school has those detectors that anything metal like that is going to, go off. So she must have forgotten that she put it in the
I
bag.
think she forgot it was in her bag. I do. And I understand where she was coming from, because one of the things that she said was like, she made a good point to Lucille and Charles when they came to the school. She was like, "Have you guys ever seen anyone die in front of you?" Which is true. Most people don't see, and she
For a
saw.
lifetime and never see anybody die.
Exactly. And she was like, I saw my boyfriend get killed in front of me. And she was like, I don't want to feel that way again and feel helpless.
And it's unfortunate that the parents didn't have enough money to send her to counseling immediately following that, because this is the aftermath of not having counseling and having to struggle through what she went through. And she'll never get over it. She may be able to learn to deal with it, but she'll never get over that.
And I appreciate the fact, like, she's been trying to express herself too. Like, I know, like, we had that discussion a few episodes back, like, thought that she was being disrespectful or whatever, but she needed to be heard. And I was glad that they finally heard her and said, when she was saying, like, hey, this is what I was trying to say at the dinner, like, I'm going through some things too, like everybody else's needs are being dealt with, and everybody has their issues, but my concerns are not being heard. And this is a real thing. Like, she's traumatized, and we see that she and Breeze, things are heating up with him, because he popped up over the house to check on her while nobody was home, and they shared a kiss, and that's all we saw. So fortunately is just a kiss, but
that's how it leads.
That's how it leads. Thank goodness she started taking those pills. She started taking those pills last week, because I was like, yeah.
Like she said, if her father caught her, she would be, what did she say? She'd be on lockdown till the rapture.
Yeah. Like, yeah. So good thing she started taking those pills, because we already see.
Always starts with a kiss.
And so Dr. Feelgood. Now we talked about this last week. We talked about the fact that he was calling the house, and we already said that was disrespectful. Lucille and Charles supposed to be separated and stuff, but they're still living in the same house. So, not only is he calling, this week he sent flowers, and Charles
and a note. Wait a minute.
And a
note.
But the filet mignon. I was like,
I can't wait to see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I was like, "Ooh, this is out of pocket."
Let me say something about Dr. Reese, okay? Let's talk about that man move. That's a man move, okay? Because he disrespects Charles.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, any brother that respected the household would not have done that. And if he were to send the flowers, they would have been either anonymous, or he would not have put as much information in there. But the mere fact that he put that information about the filet mignon and I'll see you tomorrow, he has no respect for Charles. He has no respect for that relationship.
It was definitely a flex.
Yeah, he was sending Charles a message. And then Lucille, well, of course the brother's going to read the card. Are you kidding me? Any man who has flowers coming to his house now, and knowing that they're not for him, is going to read that card, So while I understood you were upset about that, but now you really need to be taking a third eye on Dr. Reese, because if he can't respect that part of which still exists in your home with your husband, if he cannot respect that, then really he can't respect you.
Yeah, we're gonna see what's happening with Dr. Reese, Dr. Feelgood. Because she said, she told Charles, because he was just like, you gonna send flowers to the house that I built, you darn right. I read the card and stuff. And she was like, wait a minute, I don't belong to either one of y'all. Like, I'm my own woman. It's like, and I'm gonna choose who I spend the rest of my life with.
Until you get a divorce, you belong to your husband. And then
I agree. Like, you still married, sis.
And like I said,
still married.
Like I said a moment ago, the reason I said that he doesn't respect her, because he couldn't have known what Charles would do. I mean, Charles could have been one of those guys that started beating up on her because of the roses. So there's certain things you just don't do if you respect this woman. And sending roses with a note like that is not one of
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And you can see that, you know, she said that she was going to decide, but later on in the episode, we see them all hot and bothered in the car.
them. Look, you already know
And
what I know. You already know what I know.
yeah. But he seemed like he was like, I waited this long, I can wait for a while. And he was, he was talking to like, well, I can't he said something like, you're gonna have to make a decision soon, you're gonna have to eventually make a decision. And she was like, can we just stay in the present? Like she was ready to get it in and
Mhm.
stuff. And she just was like, so we had
You know
Monique
what?
on last week.
But
Mhm.
let me say what that brought to my attention is that while we're thinking of certain things about Dr. Reese, he's the one that could wind up getting hurt. And if he does, what is he going to do? Because we already see that he has no respect for the household. And if Lucille flips the script on him and decides to stay with her husband, now what is he going to do?
Uh-huh. Right. Right. Because that'll be another heartbreak. She already left him for
That's the
Charles
point.
and
Exactly.
stuff. And we found out some things in that conversation too. When she was you know, uh hot and heavy with him in the car, she said something like everything happened like she became a mother as like a teenager.
Right.
So she was like, I became a mother and a wife and stuff. And I got from that she felt trapped. And basically like what she said last week to Nicole when she made the comment about feeling stuck. Um, you know, stuck with I don't want you to be stuck like me. And it slipped. But I do think that she felt like she missed out. And I think with Dr. Feelgood, like Monique said that she's infatuated, I think she feels like this is her second chance or something.
But you weren't forced out. You missed out. And you missed out because you decided to get married at the time you decided to get married. And you decided on Charles, the person that you decided on. Now, nobody has a
Mm-hmm.
crystal ball. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. But,
Mm-hmm.
she was sounding to me as if she wanted to blame the world on things. These are the things you decided to do at an early age.
Well, I
Nobody
mean, I
forced
think
your hand. Nobody forced your hand. So whether, like I said, you may have missed out, but you weren't forced out.
right, but a lot of people, young people. I'll speak for myself. My paternal grandmother, she said that she wanted to get out the house. He got married like when she was 16, and I
Hey,
think back in that day, you know, some
hey,
people did get married really young for different reasons. They wanted to get out the house, or maybe their parents made them to get married if they
well,
got pregnant as so.
I don't see the pregnancy part being their issue. The fact is you wanted to leave the house, you wanted to get married, start your own, and these are the consequences of the decisions you made. So whether you missed
Yeah.
out or not, it isn't like it's the
Hmm.
world's fault that you missed out. Okay, you made a decision,
Hmm.
it was a bad one, and you're paying the price for it. Okay, so let's cool down and stop trying to blame society and the world, and particularly Charles. Because you married Charles. Charles didn't grab you by the hair and drag you down to the nearest justice of the
Well,
peace.
I don't think she's saying that because she even
You're
said
saying it in the
earlier.
sense, but you're saying it in the sense of, look, the one thing she said I do agree with is she deserves to be loved. Yes,
Yeah.
that's the one part of that whole thing that I agree with. But
Hmm.
how about, hey, I made some decisions early in life and I'm stuck or I'm living with those decisions. But don't come off like it was everybody's fault but yours. Those are the decisions you made and you're stuck with it.
Well, I think that's why she's making the decisions she's making now. Like I made these decisions, and now I think she feels like she has a second chance, and she's deciding to choose her. Because even T threw that in her face too. Like when
Yeah,
when
exactly.
T came over there, and the
Exactly.
mom and she was over there, and she was just like, you're not doing right and stuff. And he was like, well, maybe this is where I got it from. Like basically, Ma, you in the glass house. Like I see you and Dr. Feelgood. And Nikki told me that what you doing too. So basically nobody has no room to talk because
Exactly.
Charles can't say nothing to T and Meech about cheating, especially T about cheating because he cheated.
Exactly.
Now Lucille is stepping out with Dr. Feelgood. So he's like like
But at least
the
Charles is trying to live with his mistake and trying to make it better. And Louise,
Lucille.
I mean, she reminds me of Louise. This is a song, but okay, Lucille, you look, just leave Charles. Just go ahead and leave him and
Well,
go.
I mean, they might be heading that direction. We'll
Let me
see.
say this. Let me say this. She's making the exact same mistake she made when she was in high school. This is all infatuation. Man comes to town. He throws some money at you. You're all infatuated. You're in the car. You're kissing y'all. You're doing what you do.
Hot and bothered.
Hot and bothered. Forgetting all about your marriage. Your marriage because Charles is trying to put it together, and you thinking that that's not what you want. You're thinking that, as she said, something about the grass being greener on the other side, and she said,
But Charles told her the grass is not greener. And she said, well, we've been in the desert for a long time. And she said, and the grass is greener where you water it. Because they had an exchange talking about, the bills. And she was saying you were buying instruments and staying paying the bills. And he was like, but you got clothes and this, that, and the other up there and stuff. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it turns out on the show.
I mean, look, Charles, if you got bills and you're already in low income, you have to put your dreams aside. I understand that, and she's
Well,
right
I
about
think he did put his dreams aside. He did put his dreams aside.
that's what I figured. So this whole tete-a-tete that they were going through, it's just verbiage. But at the same token, Lucille, you look like to me you're about to make the same mistake you made in high school. Because you don't know this guy, you don't know anything about him other than what you knew in high school, and you've fallen head over heels with a guy that you really don't understand, and you're really not understanding how he's moving. Again, like I said, if he respects you, he wouldn't do the things he does.
Right. Well, one final scene. I mean, we saw. I'm to close us out for this week. Meech, going back to him in St. Louis, he was heading back to Atlanta because he found out that the grand jury was dismissed. And so he told Jay to find him a spot so that he can come through to St. Louis. And Slugger was like, oh, you gonna come through? And we see that the two of them hooked up. So he'll definitely be back. He'll definitely be back. Because he's gonna definitely have a spot in the Lou. But he went back to Atlanta and end up back at the Platinum Palace, and he was partying and everything. So we're gonna see like what the A has in store, like because Glock is still an issue, Remy's still an issue. So we gotta see if Claude did what he was supposed to do while Meech was gone, and what's gonna happen with that. So that's how the episode ended as far as him being back in the A, back at the Platinum Palace. So I guess we can.
Well, one thing I do want to say about what T said, and that being everywhere you go, you're taking up everybody's battles. You can take up one too many battles. You got enough on your plate in Atlanta. And if everywhere you go, you're going to be fighting other people's battles, you can spread yourself a bit too thin. So I understand where T was coming from. And I think
he was. I mean, it's like mind your business, pretty much. Like we don't gotta be in everybody's stuff.
Right.
But T, T over there being a sucker for love. So I can only listen to him to an extent on that. Like he's coming along in his leadership skills, but this stuff with Markeisha.
You gotta show some leadership there too.
Yeah, he gotta put her in check and stuff too, and make her stay in her lane.
Exactly.
So anyway, do you have any predictions for episode 308?
I think Henry. I think Henry. She's going to get met with her dad. I don't think that was the end. I think that sit down with T, though didn't seem to work out well. Uh, put some nuggets in Blaze's head.
I think so.
He, I think, is coming to a realization that some things you can't fix, and there's some people you can't save. And I think that he is going to realize that his daughter is just one of those people. I think that he's going to make some decisions that would be rough for any father to make, but in his position has to be made.
Yeah, we'll see if it's 308, but he definitely gonna have to make some decisions. What do you think about Jen? Do you think that Jen is gonna make it out this season?
I'm not sure about 308, but again, my gut was a little, when her dad said, "You're going to fire, you're going to go through the fire for this." And she said, "Yes, that's what I'm willing to do." Well, fire burns, baby.
Yeah.
Fire burns.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous for her. I'm definitely nervous for her. I think, well, of course, because we know that Brian is not going to die because we saw, last season that fast forward that he was the one that helped bring T down. So he'll be fine. Right. Jen, she may not make it, and that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. And we'll see maybe in 308 like what the situation is like with Remy. Like if Claude is going to get him off the table, or is Remy gonna get Claude up out of there?
Yeah, I think the latter might be.
Yeah, I think so too. So we'll see. Yeah. Well, what about who can get the hands?
Well, Markeisha is on the permanent. I can't get around that.
I knew you was gonna say Markeisha.
She gets permanent hands. Even if
I think
she could never get the game ball from me. I don't care what she does. She's on a permanent hands list.
Yeah.
What she does, she'll never get the game ball.
No, I agree with you. I think she deserves the hands because she overstepped.
And I think Wanda's mom might get the hands this week too.
Oh yeah, I agree with you on that too. Mom was tripping and acting materialistic and stuff, and not holding her mom down. I mean, holding LaWanda down. Right. So I was like, she can get the hands as well. I think I want to give Jay the hands a little bit because I feel like his hot head got his brother's finger cut off. He almost got him killed. I mean, I understand his passion, and I think any one of us would want to ride for our sibling. But the way that he was just kind of out of control at first and everything and stuff, I think him being overzealous and passionate and not willing to listen and stuff, I think it was,
Yeah, if we don't give him the hands, we should take his hands so he can't touch that Tabasco sauce. But that boy needs to, he's a hothead. He's got Tabasco sauce, brother. Because
he did start listening in the end to Meech, but I was like, I might give you the hands for that.
Yeah, he could get something to that effect, or at least a finger. So,
well, what about the game ball? It's Meech for me because I was like, Meech has been clutch.
Yeah, Meech is clutch. I can give him the permanent game ball because he seems to come through every episode, and I'm going to give him a P for showing a sense of showing the sense of leadership that he did about going to war, but also showed me that he could listen. So I'm going to give him game ball this week. God knows what will happen next week. They have to take it from him next week. But this week he showed me he could listen, and he showed me some leadership in deciding not to go to war.
Yeah. I was he did step up this week as far as the crew. He's been doing He's been doing all right. It's the Markeisha part of him that's, you know, that I'm like, but yeah. So I think we had a good discussion, and you know, I'm glad that you guys tuned in with us. Make sure you drop down and give us comments. We do read your comments. We are planning to have a roundtable soon. And so if you guys are interested in coming on the show for the roundtable, you know, please, you know, follow our social media channels. We're on Facebook, X, TikTok, IG, and you can DM our IG and give us your information. We'll get back to you, and we would love to have you for one of our roundtables, or even if you want to join us for a recap. We'd love to have you.
Absolutely.
So anyway, thank you for watching. Follow us on all the social media channels I just mentioned. You know, click the notification bell so you can know whenever we drop our videos. We're looking forward to episode 308. We'll be back here next week. And thank you for watching.
As always. Peace.
Bye.
Whoa. Espresso, but it's triple shot. I don't sweeten it. Y'all getting slapped on cause you sleeping in. On God, aside from me, I don't believe in shit. I'm done fucking, but she telling me to leave it in. Lot of blessings piling up that I ain't even wished for. None left over for y'all. I'm locking the fridge door at the crib, cutting hits. I read through the catalog, came to conclusion, no one's touching this. Just finished the maiden voyage, hopping out the